There are some people that see you literally as their guide, that see you as someone who is really grounding. Like, I almost see that people feel your presence and see your presence, and they feel more grounded, they feel more centered, they leave your energy feeling more ready to take on their projects, to take on their ambitions, to take on their day-to-day life, because they are actually given this little like dose of your energy every time they come into contact with you, whether that's online or in person. The strength that you have had to cultivate within yourself, you give them like a little dose of that, and it, like, for a moment, for an hour, for a day, for a week, they walk away having activated that strength within themselves. That is what you are able to give to people. Beautiful souls, my name is Dans, and I am your hype angel, here to give you intuitive messages from your guides, your ancestors, anyone who might be looking over you, and basically just gas you all the way up to your highest self. This is a space for those who have hearts of gold and boundaries of steel. So whether that's exactly where you're at or where you're working towards, I welcome you wherever you are on your journey. So let's get into it. I'm feeling, as I sit down to this desk, like there is a turn of the tide. There is a big kind of initiation and a message that needs to come through, because I feel like you are going to take on a really different undertaking, something that you have kind of always toyed with, an idea that you've always toyed with, but something that is going to shift things for you so dramatically. Because I feel like you're very much like, we've got this Pisces energy going on. We've got this very transformative time going on. We've got just this message that needs to come through. Before I get into it, oh my gosh, we are doing a personal reading giveaway. There will be 3 winners of a 15-minute video reading. If you want to read that, if you want to win that personal reading, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and drop good down in the comments below for further instructions. You can check out the description box where I have put the instructions there as well. The winners will be announced on the 15th of March. So make sure you put that in your calendar to come back to this channel, check whatever video I've uploaded, and make sure that you see if you've won or not. But let's get back into this message. Okay. Knight of Cups, 8 of Cups, 9 of Pentacles. Exactly what I was talking about. There is such a premeditated journey for you that you have gone on. You've really moved forward on this journey towards developing yourself in that 9 of Pentacles energy. You've had to walk away from different situations. We'll break down each of these, but I really do feel like there's going to be some very vital, very affirming messages in here for those of you who are on the brink of making a huge change in your life, or are wanting to initiate a huge change in your life. Knight of Cups energy. Universe, please, insight, information. What do you have for this beautiful collective? What do they need to know about this forward momentum that they have been moving towards? What advice do you have to guide them as they move through this? Thank you. We have the Lovers, we have the 10 of Wands, we have the 3 of Cups, we have the King of Swords, and we have the 2 of Cups. Okay, just breaking down the parts of these cards here. There have been some environments and some pathways in your past that have really drained you and worn you down. This could be past relationships, this could be past workplaces. I really do see that you were in environments that did not support you, that you may not have realized at the time, but maybe realized as you walked away from those situations, that they were chipping away at your potential, that they were undermining your ambition. It's a hard thing to realize, especially if you cared about those places, you cared about those people, and you invested a lot of time and energy into these spaces. It's a really tough realization to come to be like, those people in those places weren't actually working for my best interest in the way that I was working for their best interest. It left you very drained. it left you very exhausted. It left you very overwhelmed. The big thing that is coming from this message is that you kind of needed to experience that. Like, and it's hard sometimes to try and find that silver lining from a place that was so painful, but you are going to be creating spaces, creating opportunities. For some of you, I see you starting businesses, creating empires, maybe being entrepreneurial in the way that you are operating, creating communities even, if you are someone who is doing something in your community, building a business, doing something not for profit, or even having a social media online presence. You'll be building a community, and you are walking forward with so much more knowledge, so much more wisdom, and so much more intentionality with how you are creating that space. You are the protector of everyone that comes into your circle. And the spaces that you are creating foundationally will be created to serve the people, to make sure that you are leading with empathy and leading with compassion. And I feel like you're the kind of person that probably is quite sensitive already. Maybe someone who is has been historically, prone to narcissistic targeting. If you're highly empathic, and you may have been in a really toxic situation like that, and that has been so integral to deepening your wisdom when it comes to establishing environments for people, because you will be putting people's growth first, putting people's ambitions first, putting their health first, their mental health, their physical health, their spiritual health. You are first and foremost being led with this knowledge, because you, like, the spaces that you are creating are very, very necessary. There aren't a lot of these safe spaces around, and I really see that you're creating a safe space that is not exactly like, it's not a safe space in that you're protecting everyone from the outside world, but you're a safe space that when someone comes to you and says they are in need of extra support, whether that's time off for this situation, or having an idea and wanting it to be followed through, you're the kind of person that's going to make accommodations for people's circumstances. You're the kind of person that's going to hear someone's idea and try and implement it. You're the kind of person that is going to really value the people on a personal basis, and not seeing people for profit. That's why I do get this almost like philanthropic, like a non-profit kind of energy from some of you within this group. And that could even apply to the community that some of you could be building. If you are just building a kind of an online presence, something that isn't necessarily to do with a career or a job or some kind of monetary income, it could just be the way that you are building a community of like-mindedness around you. I do see here that you will find people that resonate with you very, very quickly. We've talked about earlier in this reading that there is this energy of wanting to make a shift, or you're on kind of like the precipice, you're right about to kind of push something forward. This is something that has been popping up so much in the readings, but I feel for a lot of you, you are about to put an offering out into the world. So that might be a book, a business, a YouTube channel, whatever that happens to be. You will be creating an offering, and you will very quickly find people that resonate with what you're saying, resonate with your wisdom, resonate with your energy. Sorry, excuse me. I know what messages are coming in fast. I really feel like I need to sneeze. Ooh. Appreciate your presence, your patience. Appreciate your presence and your patience. Let's get into this 8 of Cups energy here. Universe, please, inside information. Okay, so the big message, firstly, before I even pull cards, as I ask for information, as I ask for advice, immediately the message came through of don't look back. Don't look back. This comes in a few different ways that I'm seeing this pop up, it comes through a like don't text your ex kind of energy, which is always good advice. Let's be real, don't text your ex. They're your ex for a reason, all right? Drop that in the comments below. Don't text your ex. No. But more specifically, don't try and reach back into your past for people. There is new energy that is coming, and the space in your world needs to be open for new energy. So there are new people coming towards you. Don't fill up the gaps in your world with people that kind of used to be there. Welcome in the new. But also there does tend to be a little bit of rumination going on for you, where you are ruminating in past situations. And I'm all for processing, but don't let yourself get sucked back into that state. You process how you need to, but don't. Sometimes when we have been in such a traumatic environment, that can feel really comfortable, and a way of kind of re-experiencing that comfort is revisiting those memories. And you might not feel like what you're reaching back for is comfort, but in actuality sometimes you're reaching back to feel that anxiety, to feel that worry that used to always encompass you, and in doing so that can kind of feel comfortable. And sometimes living in your new world doesn't feel comfortable. We have the Tower as I split the deck open. You need to embrace everything feeling different, because everything feeling different and everything being different is everything that you wanted. Like, you wanted this change, and you still want a new change for yourself, but you need to get really, really practiced at being in a changed environment, because we don't like, at our core, we don't like change. It doesn't feel safe, and we like to feel safe. We like to feel safe, and what is actually safe to us is familiarity. Is that a word? Am I saying that right? The familiar feels safe, even if what is familiar is not actually safe at all. It's safe in that we know how to navigate it. So we can live in bliss but not know how to navigate that, and be afraid of what's around the corner, and kind of dissociate into states of re-traumatizing, because that traumatized state feels comfortable, because it feels familiar. I might only be talking to one or two of you as I talk about this, but the message here is don't look back. Look forward. Look forward. All right, let's pull some cards for the Eight of Cups energy universe, please. Insight information. What additional words of advice do you have for this Eight of Cups energy as we are moving forward? Moving forward and not looking back. Looking forward and not looking back. Drop that in the comments below. I'm looking forward. I'm not looking back. Eight of Swords. 10 of Swords. Knight of Swords. We have Strength and we have the Page of Cups. As I was talking about before, we have so many swords coming up. Instead of letting yourself ruminate, instead of letting yourself sit in this, you can be the triumphant power over what happened to you. You are the one that can wield that wisdom and do so with strength, with purpose. That is what is being asked of you right now. And I feel like there are a lot of you that are kind of maybe resonating with this message of, I'm meant for more. All of this was supposed to come to something. There is a reason why I had to go through this. And you're absolutely right. There is a wisdom that you have created when you alchemize the bad into a lesson. And these lessons are integral. And these lessons aren't just like little droplets of wisdom that are one little sentence or even one book. Your wisdom that you are giving is actually a space, is actually an energy that you are taking forward and that you are surrounding people with, that you are giving to people. But it needs to be moved forward, because we can see in these two states there is no movement. There is this sense of being trapped. There is this sense of being stuck. And here is you taking these swords, moving this forward with so much momentum. We're looking forward and we're not looking back. We're looking forward and we're not looking back. We have the Strength and we have the Page of Cups. as I pull this up, I am immediately flashed upon like the Empress card. Like I see you becoming such a point of inspiration for so many people that are needing this emotional nourishment. They literally look to you as a guide. There are some people that see you literally as their guide, that see you as someone who is really grounding. Like I almost see that people feel your presence and see your presence, and they feel more grounded, they feel more centered, they leave your energy feeling more ready to take on their projects, to take on their ambitions, to take on their day-to-day life, because they are actually given this little like dose of your energy every time they come into contact with you, whether that's online or in person. The strength that you have had to cultivate within yourself, you give them like a little dose of that, and it like for a moment, for an hour, for a day, for a week, they walk away having activated that strength within themselves. That is what you are able to give to people. And that is the thing that you are moving forward towards. Let's see how we are going with this Nine of Pentacles energy. Universe, please, insight information. What do we need to know about this Nine of Pentacles energy? What can this collective do to maintain this growth? Sorry, I'm getting a message coming through. Maintain this growth. That was a really specific question that kind of came to mind. It really does feel as though you are being asked to really be careful of your practices and really intentionally kind of take on the responsibility for your growth. Take on the responsibility for your energy, your power. A lot of that has got to do with you realizing truly how powerful you are and the impact that you really do make on people, and the way that people kind of do leave you with a better sense of themselves. You give that to people. That's a very powerful thing that you do. You have a very contagious energy. And there are certain things in your world that you must be doing, just like you would a plant, just like you need to make sure you're planting it in the right soil, that it's got the right nutrients, that you water it the appropriate amount at the certain times of day, that you're pruning it, that you're making sure no weeds are getting near it so that it can't overpower the growth of the plant. Like, there are ways that you really do need to make sure that your energy is kind of in tip-top shape. We have the Four of Wands, we have the Three of Pentacles, we have the Knight of Wands, we have the Six of Cups. Okay. Okay, so I've got actually like 4 individual messages coming through. I want to pick the one that's shouting at me the loudest. So this is the Three of Pentacles here. And there's a lot of things here with exchange of energy, teacher, mentor type of things. But the big thing that I'm being drawn towards is actually the woman being drawn. There is a level of self-love that you have yet to unlock. And as I say this, I can feel the energy of those who are resonating with this. And I know that you know that there are still some issues for you in terms of you accepting your body and accepting your value, because your value is still in a lot of ways really tied up to your physical appearance. There is a journey for you still that is so important, and I endeavor to tell you how integral it is that you prioritize this relationship with yourself, and that you start to realize that your value is separated and not beholden to your physical appearance. And that is something, I know that as I talk about that, there's something massive for you to overcome. It really, really is important at this time that is really consciously investigated, is really consciously kind of worked on, is really consciously resolved. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put that card to the side, because I know that I'm getting into some really heavy territory when I start to talk about self-worth and self-esteem, especially when it comes to body image. So I'm just going to put that to the side right now, because I do want to get in deeper, and I do want to ask the cards what are some practices that you can take on, or places where you can look to for resources and help on how to better appreciate and love your body as it is, because this is actually going to be an additional part of the wisdom that you will be giving to other people. And it is such a big part of yourself that is screaming out for healing. I see some of you moving either temporarily for like maybe 1 month, 3 months, a year, or even permanently to a big city, or even if you live in a big city, you'll be going to a much larger city. And it'll feel larger. It might not particularly be larger in size, but it is a lot busier, potentially more aligned with your values and your goals. But I definitely see you moving somewhere overseas, and that being kind of a big step in your career. There is going to be a big spark of inspiration coming for you. There's going to be a really big creative push. You might even know what this is for. You might even have a creative undertaking that you're working towards, and you are needing to support that by good creative practices. So the time is now to start getting into some creative practices. It could be daily journaling. It can be taking on a writing challenge or a content creating challenge. But there are habits that need to be formed so that you can fully fulfill this creative endeavor that you are working towards. So we had the travel, we had these creative practices, we have the body image stuff, and then the next part of you really maintaining your energy is this Six of Cups energy. You need to be kind of like symbolically giving gifts to your inner child. And it can be symbolically, but as well as materialistically. But like a few different things might be reading the book or books that you loved as a child, listening to the music that you loved as a child, doing the activities that you loved as a child. It might even be like, I know this sounds so weird, this came to me earlier today. It might be, for example, like buying yourself a toy, like a child's toy, like a kid's toy. I think the way that it came up was that maybe if you are a girl, woman, and you loved Barbies as a child, and maybe as you continue to get older, you felt like you needed to disavow that part of yourself that was hyper feminine or girly or childish, and in doing so you've moved away from your feminine energy, you've moved away from your playful self, you've moved away from that creativity. And maybe getting something like that for yourself that you just like, and you don't necessarily need to play with it. It can just be something that you like that sits around in your home, or maybe it's on display, or maybe it's something that you just like to look at sometimes. Now, I'm giving that as an example. Not everyone here wants to get a Barbie, but it could be something similar like that. It could be Legos that you want to put together. It could be it could be a certain type of, like, I don't know, those spiral drawing things that, you know, that people, I don't know if kids still do that, but you get like the little things and you make a little mandala out of it with the spiral things. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? I know what I'm talking about, but whatever it happens to be, find the things that awaken your inner child's joy. Your inner child is actually the key to your creativity, the key to your inner wisdom, the key to your intuition. So if you want to have a practice in place where you are taking care of your energy, you must be first and foremost taking care of your inner child. You must be very aware, very awake, and very in tune with them. And I feel like that is a journey that is going to continue to progress for a lot of you. This getting to know and befriend your inner child. And I really feel like as I continue to talk about this and I feel your energy, I feel that you're already very much on the train when it comes to, I want to get to know my inner child. I want to respect, honor, and care for my inner child. I definitely feel that there is more for you to explore still, and there are ways that you should definitely put into practice. Just little ways. Maybe it is once a quarter, like once every 3 months, you just go to a department store and look at the toys and see what your eyes like stay on. And you don't even need to buy anything. Like you just be like, oh, I remember I really was interested by these things. And it can bring you an awareness, and it can start a conversation. It can start a feeling with your inner child. It can bring up a part of you that maybe you felt like you needed to suppress, a part of you that, you know, when you're a kid, you like what you like until you find out that your grade or your class or a friend of yours thinks that that's lame now, and then we decide that that's really lame. And we disown parts of ourselves when that happens, and you'll start to awaken more and more to those things that genuinely brought you joy, and you're old enough and wise enough to know that you don't disown yourself anymore. And there is nothing wrong with liking what you like. Okay, that's all of the cards, but like I said, I am going to get back into the Three of Pentacles energy. Universe, please. What can we know? Where should we go? What can we put into place? What practices, what habits would help this collective learn to love themselves and their body as it is and realize the inherent value that it has always held? We have the Six of Pentacles. We have the High Priestess. We have the Page of Pentacles. We have the Five of Wands. We have the Judgment. Okay, so there does need to be a cleansing of your internal thoughts that needs to come up. So, because the last thing that you need to do is be bullying yourself about the feelings that you have. You don't need to be giving yourself a hard time because right now you can't accept yourself as you are, or you have days where you criticize your body, or you have days that your clothes don't fit the way you thought they would, or don't look the way you wanted them to, or you're having difficulty kind of feeling good about your body. Like, you don't need to criticize yourself and think that you're weak because you're having those thoughts. The internal arguments, the internal dialogue that you're having, this back and forth between I'm beautiful the way that I am and I need to look like this to be accepted and to be to be worthy of love. That internal argument never came from you, but is highly encouraged in a lot of cultural settings, a lot of societal settings. Majority of the world is encouraging that dialogue. So you don't need to feel bad or weak or unworthy because you are falling victim to that mindset. Understand that that's normal. Understand that the programming that we've had around the beauty industry and beauty standards, it was created so that you have this argument within yourself. Don't feel bad for their tactics working. because they are expertly made. They're tactics to make you feel bad so that you feel like you need to get this diet program or this weight loss product or this type of makeup and this type of clothes or this type of product to make you lovable in people's eyes. They're doing that expertly. So you don't need to feel weak. You don't need to feel broken about the fact that that worked on you, because it was supposed to. But it is your responsibility. It's unfair. It's totally unfair, but it is your responsibility to become the authority on your mind and become the authority on how you feel about yourself. It does mean kind of having to deconstruct these ideal body type images that have been cooked into our society for generations. But you don't need to fight with yourself because you have this internal struggle going on. As you feel this come up, there does need to be a conversation had with yourself. There does need to be a conversation had with yourself, and that conversation can sound like, I see where these feelings are coming up. I see where I'm not valuing myself, and I see where that comes from. I see where that comes from, and I'm not going to let that control me today. Doesn't even need to be that like steady, and I'm going to try my hardest not to have that control me today. I don't want to let that control me today. Follow that up with like positive and truthful things about yourself. I really like looking at myself in the mirror. I think that I'm cute. I really like how my clothes fit me. Dang, don't I look pretty? I understand that these two thoughts are running at the same time and it's really hard, and today it's especially hard. But I am beautiful, and I am beautiful every day, and I always have been. That needs to be the way that you are starting to recalibrate and reprogram your mind. Because a lot of us have been programmed to think that our lovability and our value is dependent on our physical shape and our physical form. I wasn't going to talk about this, but I do feel called to. I almost feel like I can't talk about anything else until I talk about this. So I'm a pretty thick girl, and I love it most days, and some days it's harder. Like, it's harder to feel lovable and valuable, especially when I feel like I'm being put up or being compared to or on the same platform as other women that look different and are more societally accepted, I feel. Being a woman of color and being someone a little bit thicker, like I feel in a lot of spaces that I'm not as desirable, which is, arguable, because there are a lot of spaces where being a woman of color who is thicker is definitely more desirable. I just grew up in a space where I felt like I didn't have a place there. And that is still very much a program that runs within me. When I was probably 17 to 21, I had a pretty intense disordered eating. And it was really confusing because I was a big girl and I lost a lot of weight. And when that happened, I got so much positive reinforcement from my friends, from my family, from boys. Suddenly I was treated like I was a different person. People looked me in the eye. People gave me so many compliments. People wanted to be my friend. Like, it was my absolute nightmare coming true, because it really reinforced to me that I was more lovable when I looked a certain shape, or I was a certain weight, or I was a certain size. It really reinforced that to me. And I think that it's something that's not talked about enough when people talk about kind of extreme weight loss. And for me, it was extreme. Like, I lost something like almost 50 kilos within a year. It was so unsafe. And there were a good few years where I was underweight. But more dangerously, I did not have good eating habits. I was destroying my metabolism. And when I was that size that I was trying so hard to get to and thought that I would be so lovable at, and maybe in reality I was getting a lot of affirmation that I was lovable, I couldn't see my value. I still couldn't see it. I couldn't see how beautiful I was. And it was so extreme that like I still thought I had all of this weight to lose, even though it was getting really, really dangerous. And I was passing out at work. My family that had been so supportive realized very, very quickly that it was not something to be supportive of. They got very worried very, very fast. My personality changed because I was angry all the time. Like, so many bad things happened. But the biggest thing was that even when I was the size that I thought would make me lovable, I couldn't even see it. I couldn't see it. What's the point? What's the point of doing all of that to get to this place that I thought meant that I would be happy, and I wasn't happy? And you know, I'm back to being a thick girl again, and I have to grapple with that lesson that I know I was supposed to learn when I was a teenager, because I went the wrong way about trying to learn to love my body. And that was by making my body something that was lovable. And that's not it. Like, your body is lovable at all points. You just have to let yourself love it. And that's hard when you've been programmed not to. And we're programmed not to love ourselves because that is in other people's financial best interest. My larger point is there is a love that needs to be cultivated with how you are exactly as you are. You don't need to change anything about you to make yourself worthy of love. And your worthiness of love isn't dependent on what you look like. Because let's say you do change how you look and then you get love. Then what? If your body changes again, does that mean you're no longer lovable? We can see how quickly that line of thinking falls apart, and I experienced that firsthand. There is a journey here for me, and maybe for some of you too that are resonating with that part of the reading, of fully learning that lesson that you are lovable exactly as you are. And that journey of love is so important because that is something that you're going to share with other people as well. You are inherently lovable, and your value is not ever, nor has it ever been, dependent on your physical form. Now let's get into the Six of Pentacles, the High Priestess, and the Page of Pentacles. You giving so much love to yourself is actually going to bring you closer to your creator. It's going to bring you closer to the divine. It's going to bring you closer to your intuition, because it's like you not accepting yourself is such a big barrier between you and your intuition. Because you're already, like, in so many ways, you are closing yourself off to yourself. You're already saying in so many ways you are not valuable. And that runs so deep. So the more you start to give to yourself in these smaller ways, it actually has such a big chain reaction on the way that your guides, your higher self communicates with you, that your intuition communicates with you. You will actually be more tapped into your surroundings as soon as you realize that you are perfect exactly as you are, as you always have been, and as you always will be. As you continue to change, continue to evolve, you are no more, no less. You are perfectly valuable. You are perfectly lovable. And that is how you create an even stronger bond, even stronger connection with Source. And that is how you are able to give your wisdom to those who need it. Do so with confidence. Do so with a full heart, with a genuine and authentic energy. and fully embodied love. God, I've rambled this one. I've rambled all day about this one. Let's get into the oracles to tie this reading all together. I've really gotten a lot out of this reading. I'm really, really excited for the things that you have coming up. So if you do have things coming up, let me know in the comments below so I can know where to follow you, know where to support you like you support me. Super quick reminder that, yeah, if you want a personal reading, you want a free personal reading, there are going to be 3 winners of personal readings for the free reading giveaway that I'm doing at the moment. Entries close on the 15th. All you need to do is subscribe and comment good down below, and that'll put you in the draw for the free reading giveaway. Let's have a look at these oracle cards. We have acceptance. You can let go now. Surrender to what is. Letting go. Water. Non-resistance. I really feel like this is tapping into the energy of just loving yourself as you are. Like really just letting go of what you think you should be, what you think you need to be in order to be loved. Because as soon as you let go of that and accept yourself as you are, you will accept that you are inherently valuable and inherently lovable. Then we have 22. The meaning is in the middle. Memento mori. Life, presence, death. There is something so incredibly powerful about the space between your joy and your tragedy. And that is the space where all of your wisdom exists. That is the place that you need to embrace that you have such a huge capacity for sadness, just as much as you have such a huge capacity for joy, because it is the way that you can deeply feel both of these things that allows you to alchemize your experience into wisdom. That card hit me really hard. Whew. Let's finish this up with a really nice music oracle. I really love how you guys have been enjoying these and interpreting these. Let's get James Brown. Knock 'em dead, then leave. Don't quit moving until it's payback time. When you're ready to get on up, it's time to get down. I'm going to leave that message there with you. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading. I appreciate your space. I appreciate your energy. I really get so much out of being with you and your energy. So if you are new to this channel, I'm so glad to have you here. If you are a long-time subscriber, y'all are just my besties, and I appreciate getting to connect to your energy because it is so good and so healing for me. Make sure you enter the free reading giveaway. Instructions are in the description box below. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next one.